Alright, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about generators. Okay, I run an ad about some generators and I got a boatload of them now, but whatever. I had a 4550 watt Predator inverter generator. Y'all seen that in the flamethrower video, the camping video, which that is a great model. Super efficient on fuel. But whatever, this came to my conclusion, I need to make a video about talking about different types of generators, because there's a lot of people that don't know the difference between old school generators and inverter generators. And there is basically, over time, you know, electronics get more advanced, TVs turn to flat screen, well, generators got more advanced. So this is the old school model right here. So they ended up getting 3 generators in a deal, one from one guy and these 2 from another guy. And like I said, they're all been sitting, need to get running. Whatever, this is your normal Lowe's, Home Depot, old school, construction style, you know, first version generators. This is a Coalmen PowerMate 5000 running a Tecumseh 10 horse flathead engine. Okay, these was great back in the day when they came out, but they had some bad sides. The bad side is they was loud and annoying, and the next thing was they was very inefficient. Okay, with a flathead engine, you use more gas to get more horsepower than you do with an overhead valve engine. So in that return, they wasn't running no kind of regulator system, so that the power that come out relied strictly on the speed of the engine, maintaining a steady 3600 RPMs. It is hard to get a small gasoline engine to stay at a steady speed. And the big problem these had was surging. And okay, if you try to use this generator in this day and time, but you'll run your flat screen TV and your window air conditioner and stuff. But if you plug in your house and you have all LED lighting, which I do, so everything got upgraded, it won't be cheaper, don't feel like changing light bulbs, you'll notice a big problem with LED lighting. Like the lights will be flickering, they'll dim and brighten when compressors kick on or you turn something on, and they just kind of act crazy. And the reason for that is a abnormal sound wave. Alright, if you didn't know, energy that comes out of the wall outlet in your house is running at 60 hertz a second. What that means is it's actually pulsing on and off 60 times per second. Okay, when the magnets spin in that generator at a steady 3600 RPM, they put out a close range of that alternating current. DC current, like your car battery, is a direct current. It never pulses. So whatever. So if you have an inverter generator, you never notice a flash in your lights, and the power is always smooth unless you plug in something that's like the max watt rating, and then it can like damn near stop the power. That's because an inverter generator uses stuff like capacitors and stuff to hold a bank of power there, and it uses DC power coming from the engine like the alternator on your car and converts it to AC power. And a computer, there's computers that control a steady perfect voltage coming out, and that can allow you to let the motor go down to idle on low load and then speed up for heavy load, and that can save fuel. Well, whatever, these old school generators, they were set to run at a steady speed and run stuff like electric motors, all right, skill saws, air compressors, electric motors, which you would use in construction. They're loud, and they didn't use no kind of muffler except for the stock muffler that come on the engine when it was made by Tecumseh, because it's a construction zone. They're not really worried about, you know, loudness. But what's crazy is Coalmen made them, and I wonder why they didn't put, you know, a camping style muffler on there to knock it down. But I get it. Stuff was trying to fly out the door, and the engine company is building the engines. Coalmen was just fitting them with their generators. It's probably how it worked. But whatever. So we're going to step up a couple years. This is like, everybody bought these back in 2004 in my area, which Arkansas. We had a big ice storm back then. 2003, 2004, knocked out power for several weeks to a month. you know, and everybody ran to the nearest store and bought generators, and they was either running a Briggs Stratton or Tecumseh, and they was running either a brushless armature or a armature with brushes. These Coalmens with the square generator unit are running brushes in the back, and they're kind of in a plastic housing. But whatever, that's good. I mean, the brushes are pretty much outlast the generator most of the time. And whatever, I want to do is teach you some tips about these, you know, and stuff you want to think about if you're going to buy a generator. Okay, we're going to step up a couple years here in models. Okay, this is the model. This is the old Black Max that went and got. It is your normal 4,000 watt generator, and they call it, it's like a 4550 3500 running watt, so they kind of got surge in that one's just a steady, you know, 5,000. That means 5,000 surge watts. And most people bought those too to run their campers, your Coalmen camper, Coalmen AC, and like I said, they worked for the job, but they're loud. Okay, this is the next models that came out in time between the Honda clone engines, and everybody produces this now. Okay, so whatever this is, you got a Honda clone, you know, 6 horsepower, running a Chinese, well, the engine's Chinese too, but generator unit. They put you a big muffler on there, and one key feature that made these better than the old model is they fitted them with an automatic voltage regulator, just like in a car alternator. So what that does, it runs to the brushes in the back to the center electric magnet, and it can control the strength of the magnet, which that's great because it puts out perfect electricity, but it still can be a little rough because you're still depending on engine speed putting out alternating current. So if your engine runs rough up and down, anything like that, load is applied at like a large jolt, and whatever, they did a lot better though, because you can slow the engine down and you're still going to put out power. Now the problem with that is you need to keep the engine pretty close to 3,600 RPMs, because if you put it too low, the cooling system in these newer style generators won't pull enough air through the generator unit, and the motor can handle it, but the windings will literally melt in the generator because the fan ain't pulling enough air through to cool the generator unit during the load. And you'll notice stuff like your automatic voltage regulator will be burning out, and that's because it's working so hard to make that magnet strong enough to put out power. But whatever, most of y'all ain't adjusting nothing, y'all just using them in a power outage. And whatever, that's my plan here. I'm probably going to hope to get this Black Max going because it's the newest model. It's going to be the most efficient on fuel. The old generators use 5 gallons a night, running one RV air conditioner. I know that from experience. 10 horsepower engine, which, yeah, you'll run your TVs, your lights, your refrigerator, your air conditioner. It'll run just about everything in the house, but some of your 220 stuff like your stove, water heater, and dryer, you know, you won't be able to use that stuff, but everything in there, which I can run one air conditioner in my icebox and lighting off this 4,000 watt generator. And in my plan to get a generator, I was looking for like a 2,500 watt to 1,200 watt. That way, the smaller the unit, the less fuel it uses. Because, you know, if you're keeping it for a backup, you don't want to store a bunch of fuel, you know, because it's going to go bad. And a propane model is nice, but in the event of a storm, if you don't have enough propane, it's going to be hard to get, because, you know, stores, and especially in the winter time, because everybody's already got the propane because they was prepared for the 1 foot of snow that was coming that never showed up. And that's how it is around here. Anytime there's something comes across the news, somebody goes and gets all the gas from the gas station and everything, and if you're not ready, you know, which it's the first night of a power outage ain't that bad, unless you know, like I got 2 kids, they watch TV, they're crazy about the internet, you know, YouTube and all that, and they can't hardly sleep at night without something to get them by, and they start getting scared when there's no lights, you know, and they know it ain't normal. And the thing I worry about is either it's gonna be too hot, too cold, or the food's gonna ruin my icebox that I just bought. And my main deal was the icebox and the lights. The lights, the LED lights, all the lights in my house maybe use like 75 watts when they're all on, running LEDs. and you can turn the lights on. It don't even tell to the generator that they're on. A lot of people, every person around the world has a car, and a good option if you have a car is a power inverter. And I'll grab mine and I'll show you my power inverter. Okay, this right here, you can see it's got 3 outlets on the front, is my 1500 to 2500 surge watt power inverter. Now, which that rating is a little overrated, and it all depends on these wires, how much amperage is in your battery you got it hooked to, the connection, because if it's just a little bit off, every time you turn on your window air conditioner, it'll kick off. Now, this thing is capable of running a 5,000 BTU window air conditioner in your bedroom. Without that, it'll run the icebox and everything. And the way I used this in the latest power outage we had when the tornado came through, so I went outside and hooked this to my truck, which my truck's, you know, 26 years old, and I left the truck running all night to keep enough juice to the battery, because this thing will run a battery dead in an hour or less, depending on the load, because it really draws some amps. And that's the bad thing about the power inverter. Now, if you have a new car out there, a little 4-cylinder car, you know, it's brand new, this is a good option to have, and that way you don't have to worry about storing fuel. You know, if a storm's coming, you go fill your car up with gas, you got your power inverter, you can just attach it to the battery and run your house or refrigerator or whatever you need to do off your car. And a 4-cylinder car doesn't use as much gas as that 10 horse 5,000 watt generator does. And I can tell that. I left my Nissan truck running all night, and it used just a tiny bit of gas off the gas cage running it at idle. But yeah, those things use some gas for real. But whatever, I don't want to bore everybody talking. Okay, whatever, I'm going to try to get these running. I'm going to start with this Black Max here, in which these things got dropped off when I wasn't home. I was out of town, or away from the house, and the guy, whatever, had Dad just get them. I traded the old parts full for these. So that was kind of sight unseen. He told me it had the fuel tank and stuff to it, which I've looked around, I didn't see the fuel tank, so he might have forgot to get it out of the truck. But whatever. This is the one I was mostly focused on because it was as closest to what I was looking for. But like I said, it's missing the pull rope cover. The breather's gone. And I don't know what they got going on here. This is like some kind of string air filter. Never seen that before. That's probably not good for it. I've checked the oil in the two he dropped off, and there's no oil in them. And that's not a good sign either. But they both turn over. I don't hear no clanks or nothing. And this one looked like it had a melted outlet, so I'm kind of concerned about the generator unit, if it's going to work. So whatever, I want to see if they run. So the fastest way I can probably do that is I'm going to get a rope and wrap around the auger right here and squirt a little gasoline into the breather after I get all this string out of there, because I don't want it to go down there and get stuck under the valves. And we'll give her a tug and see if it'll crank and run. So maybe we'll be lucky. If that one will run, which I do got to put oil in it too, and these other two, I'm probably going to sell these on Facebook. So if anybody needs some generators, I got 2 big ones because I really don't need this big of units, and I wouldn't have gas to run them in that power outage anyway, because like I said, a lot of gas. Now if you're doing construction, you need a good generator to run your skill saws and stuff. These are great for that. They will handle the load, no problem. I got the generator set up here in the trailer. I'm going to go ahead and pull this back cover off because I noticed this wire where they come out, it's been tampered with. It ain't put back in there, and it looks like the screws have been unscrewed. So I want to make sure there's nothing loose in here that that's going to mess up if I start the engine. So, and I noticed it's missing a bolt here, so I'm going to get some, pull that off and see what it looks like. I got the back cover off. Right here is the automatic voltage regulator I was talking about. There's a leaf. Right here is your brushes. They run down to some copper collars, or brass, copper, around the center armature shaft. Where there's 2 of those. They seem to be in there. The 2 wires hooked up right here. This is basically your hot, your neutral, and your ground coming out. That's basically how it works. Just standard 110. Right here's the voltage regulator. Like I said, it reads, takes power from the outer winding, puts power right here to the brushes, controls the inner winding, and controls how much power is coming out of here. So if you put this engine wide open, like full throttle, the voltage will not ever pass the set voltage. Another thing I noticed, this muffler looks kind of poofed out. I don't know what that's about, but it might have been stopped up or something. Where looks good in here, ants and spiders and stuff. So I'll just put the cover back on so I don't see anything missing. But I do see one problem that may affect the operation of this thing, and that is a crack. There's a crack right there in the arm coming over. Let's see if y'all can see it. See that crack right there? Holding the center bearing in. Yeah, that crack's not good. But yeah, I'll put the cover back on. Ain't nothing I can do about that crack. Okay, I went in, turned it around, filled it up with oil. So now I'm gonna try to get this string out of the front of the carburetor. I'm probably gonna need a dang extension. Get that side off, or my ratchet here. Get my ratchet and get this bolt out. Look like these bolts have been took out about a jillion times. Looks like this thing's had a rough life. Alright, got the nuts off here. I'm gonna try to get all this string out of here. I don't know. Oh my gosh, it's all down in the dang carburetor. Yeah, I don't know what was going on here. Open the choke door. Yeah, water string ran up in the dang carburetor. I don't know what they was thinking here. I don't see any behind the carburetor, so should be alright there. I'm surprised this ratchet even turns these screws. Okay, I got my drill. I advise not to start an engine with the drill, but since I'm trying to video this and all that, it'll be easier this way for me. Now, it is very dangerous. I could blow up my drill, break my wrist, and there's a lot of factors that go into this, but I'm just going to try it without no fuel, see how good she'll spin it. Oh yeah, you got to put it in a drill mode too. Alright, I'm going to put it the last slip setting before drill mode. Put it in low gear. And drill mode. Alright, let me get a little fuel and put in there. Alright, yeah, right here got my little pump can. I filled it up with some gas. So it ain't perfect, but it's the best thing I got for squirting it up in this carburetor. So I'll put some good squirts of gasoline in there and try not to break my arm. Oh shit. Yeah. Nah, that ain't gonna work. Cause it's hitting and it's spinning the drill and stuff. So I guess we're gonna go with the rope. Okay, I went up here and stole my dad's old power washer. The pump went out on this thing. The motor still runs great. But whatever, I'm gonna grab the cranker cover off of here and probably some other parts we need them. And whatever, I'm gonna see if this generator runs. If it runs, then we'll strip parts off this and fix the generator because it's got a good motor, but it needs a pump. Or if it runs, the generator runs, I'll order the right cranker cover. I just didn't want to put no money into it unless I knew it was going to work. your square cranker cover. I'm probably gonna need this spacer. We'll see if it'll fit on there. Okay, the cranker cover does fit and lines up with holes, but the original cover had 2 bolts here and 1 down there, and them are the only holes that's threaded, and none of the holes are gonna line up with this cover. I mean, I could put the bottom bolt in it, but it ain't gonna do no good without a top bolt. I could pull this off and bolt this to it with bolt heads on the back, but they could come in contact with the fan. So probably I'm gonna have to change this whole piece right here off the power washer onto here, the fan shroud, and maybe we'll get somewhere from that. So let me get it off of there and see if that'll work. Okay, there's that one. I went in and bolted the rope cover back on this one. We'll see if everything lines back up right here. I think the motors are pretty much the same. Getting hung on the magnet a little bit. Okay, yeah, all that lines up. But I have to change the auger because that auger's longer and this one's shorter because the cover was made to fit in closer. Okay, whatever, right here's the difference in the augers. This one's about 1/2 inch taller than the other one. So I just put it on there. Pretty much the same crank. I'm pretty sure they're exact same motors, just clones, you know. Like I said, this one was a Black Max, that one's a Mastercraft. They're all made in basically like a Harbor Freight Predator engine. Okay, that ought to work. Now I'll bolt all that cover back on again. Okay, so I got a pull cover now. I'm gonna put some more gas to her. We'll see if it'll fit. Okay, so let's try it again here. Okay, so the motor run good. Now we need to see if we got power. Okay, so I got my studio light plugged in there, and we'll see if it'll light up when I start the engine. Okay, so it's making power. So now we just got to get a gas tank put on there. I might steal the one off the power washer and put on there. Alright, as you seen earlier in the last clip, I got the Black Max running. So Try not to make this video too long, so we're gonna go ahead and move to the first Tecumseh Coalmen Power Mate. See if I can get this one running. It's all here, but it's missing the breather. But it's got the right carburetor on it. The other one's got a Briggs & Stratton carburetor put on there, and it don't fit none of the linkages. So might have to do some rigging on that one. See if it's gonna work. Or I might have a Tecumseh carburetor. I'm gonna squirt some gas in there and see if this one will fire up and run. I done filled it up with oil because it was empty. So just see if it's gonna hit or something. So I got a little gas left. Now this gas had oil mixed with it. That's why the other one was smoking so bad. So I didn't get all the oil out of the little pump can there. So let's see what happens. Okay, that one runs. It sounded a little rough though. I heard a rattle in there. So whatever, now I'm gonna move the other one over here and we'll see what it does. Okay, well I got the other one pulled over here, and it's basically the exact same thing as that one, same model and everything. But this one don't have a wheel kit, and this one is set outside way longer than that one has. So where I checked the oil, it's still full of oil. All that looks good. This carburetor don't go on here. Somebody made it fit. It's for a Briggs & Stratton motor, so there's no throttle linkage hooked up at all. So basically when it cranks, it's going to be wide open. So, but it'll only run for a second till it runs out of fuel. And whatever, we'll see if it'll hit. So let me grab my gas and squirt a little up in there. Okay, that should be plenty. Turn that throttle the other way. I thought it was going to crank. Okay, let me get the choke open. Throttle that way. Okay, so both of them run. I'll have to get these running a little better so I can check if they're making power. I should have had like a light bulb plugged in, it would have lit up. I tell you, they're a lot harder to start than that one over there. It takes a lot more effort.